1, lifestyle, 2, faith, 3, help videos. This was a job where work visa was guaranteed. How do you start a video after like a year of like not posting anything? Anyways, you just start, I guess. You just jump in. Hi, I hope you have been doing well. I have been doing well. God has been so faithful. I have been amazing. I hope life has been kind to you and you've been kind to everybody. Welcome back to my friends, my 250, 260 something friends that have somehow stayed subscribed. I opened this today to check like before I uploaded this, and I saw like, oh, 200 and something. Okay, there's still people on this channel, so thank you very much for hanging in there, for staying there. I appreciate it. I have a lot has happened. I have news, I have stories. It feels like such a long time ago since I made the last video that I uploaded here. Within that time, I have moved cities, I have left my job, my dream job, by the way, like my actual dream job. I've left my job, I have moved to a new city, I've moved to a new apartment. About very soon I'll be moving out of that new apartment, you know. So it's been a whole lot of life lived since the last time I posted here, and I mean that's how it's supposed to be. So by way of reintroduction, my name is Oluwabukomi. That's my middle name. That's the name I use here on this channel because I love it and I don't use it I don't use it enough. And yeah, just hearing that, I realized this is probably not the best place and time and lighting to be doing a video, but you know how it is. This is like the time when I feel in the mood and I have the time, everything kind of just, you know, worked out well. So instead of procrastinating and then not getting to this for another 1 month, I just decided I'm gonna do it. And so you get what you get. And I think the sounds of nature that you probably are gonna be hearing a lot in this video are like really calming, really peaceful. So maybe you're gonna put on this video as your you know, I'm going to sleep video to like put me to sleep, kind of. Just joking. But seriously, I am practicing that just do it mentality, where instead of waiting for the perfect time, the perfect opportunity, just do what you got to do. It's not going to be perfect, which is, you know, one of my biggest issues is needing things to be perfect, needing things to be a certain way. Oh my gosh, that's such a beautiful bird. Sorry. I think that's the biggest problem though, like the distraction of the flora and fauna that's around here. It's a nature place. It's beautiful. What was I saying? Yes, distraction or of needing things to be perfect. That's one of the biggest things that make people, me being the chief culprit here, not do the things that they know they should do. You know how many times I have said, oh, this week I'm going to post a video, over the last like close to 1 year. It never happens because, oh yeah, one thing is not right. So I just was like, nope, I'm gonna get it done. And I think that's really a good mantra for life. Just do it, perfect or not. Which brings me back to what I was gonna do before I got sidetracked. Reintroduction, name, and because it's been so long, it feels like I'm starting afresh. So I feel like I need to introduce myself and talk about what the purpose of this channel is. The first thing, it's a personal challenge to myself, which is another reason why I did not pressure myself, you know, to when life happened and life just took over, I didn't really feel bad, because I know that first of all, it is a challenge to myself to grow in that way, to grow in presentation, in speaking, in teaching outside of the classroom, outside of the conventional classroom, to grow as a storyteller. I am comfortable with my competence as a storyteller when it comes to written content, but I am not competent in my abilities or my competence as a storyteller when it comes to video content or spoken storytelling, which I really wanted to get better at, which was one of my biggest motivation. Yeah, hi little birdie. which is one of my motivations for starting this channel. So it was one, a challenge to myself to grow in that way, and I think the growth is slow, but yes, it's happening, so I'm grateful for that. It used to take me so long to like turn on the camera and just start talking, because it was just really weird. Anyways, you know all about that because I talked about that a lot in many of my earlier videos. The second thing was because I wanted to find a space to actually just talk a lot about my faith and about my journey. Faith being a very foundational part of my journey. For the past several years now, I live in a part of the world where it's very easy to slide into secularity and just have, you won't even notice that it's happening, but gradually you have your faith kind of just becoming less of the center of your life, becoming less of a like big, very obvious part of your life. Just let's start sliding into the shadow. And I realized that one of the ways to counter that is to be proactive in constantly not only talking about it, but you know, the things that we talk about are the things that kind of constantly stay at the top of our minds. So this is supposed to be one of the that's one of the purposes of this channel as well, for me to just talk about faith and to interact with other people of like faith. And the third reason is kind of related to the first one, you know, just to keep to practice storytelling in that way. But it's that I have really learned and grown a lot from just knowing and learning about people's stories, people's I am an avid people watcher. I don't need to get into that. I do these videos and then I get sidetracked and I talk about a lot of other things I did not plan to talk about, and I just go around and around and around in circles. I am not doing that. I'm trying to get better at this. Okay, so I really enjoy listening to people's stories of their lives. I really enjoy like just watching people's lives and learning and interacting in that way, in that passive way. And one day I just realized, like, why do I really enjoy that? And I detest putting myself out there in that way. So I was trying, part of the purpose of this is to break out of that mold. So long story short, what kinds of content would you find here? You'd find lots of faith, lots of lifestyle. So I do potentially, because if you look at the history of videos here, I'm not doing enough. Potentially I will do lifestyle videos. I will talk about like just normal ordinary everyday stuff, and then also talk about lessons, like things I have learned along the way. I prayed a prayer a long time ago that I'm trying to decide if I want to talk about that because I don't want to go around in circles. Anyways, I prayed a prayer a long time ago that God should help open doors for me in certain areas, and that when I go through those doors, I will leave them open, or I will hold them open for others who are coming. And I have constantly found myself in positions where I had to do that, and then every time something happens where I want to get like, oh, I don't have time, or someone wants me to help them do something, I'm like, I have too much on my plate right now. I remember that prayer, and I remember that kind of commitment that I have, where it's like, remember you did this thing and I helped you, and you're supposed to, like, you know, leave the door open for others, or hold the door open for others. I have not done enough in way of active actions, and that's one of the purposes of this as well. I have done a lot of passive, like if someone asks me something, I go all out to help, to figure things out with them, to, you know, help people work through things, work alongside people to do things. So I have done that a lot, but I want to do it more actively, where it's, you know, proactively basically is the word, where I just put out the lessons I've learned, like just have videos like, you know, how to's to do stuff that I have done, and I know that can be complicated or can be technical or can be hard to figure out sometimes. So that's another purpose of this. That was supposed to be the short version. 1, lifestyle. 2, faith. 3, help videos, how-to videos. Those are the kind of things that you will find on this channel. So if those are the kind of things that interest you, please come along, subscribe, and share. And also, if there's something you want to know or something that you're curious about, maybe you know me and we've not really had time to talk about stuff that you want to learn how to navigate, you can leave comments, and then I can like get ideas of stuff that people would find helpful. That's all the purpose of all of this kind of introduction, to let you know what to expect and to let you know what you can talk about and ask or request for me to do. Once again, for those who have been here since I started this, who have supported, who have like commented, who have shared, thank you very much. I do not, you don't understand, I do not take any of that for granted. And if somehow this came across your screen, you scrolled, you found this somehow, and those kinds of things interest you, please stay, subscribe, and be a friend. Thank you very much. All right, I left my job. That's maybe where I will start the updates. I say that because it's something that I had to wrestle with, and it's something that's taken me a whole year to even process enough to like talk about. It was, look, if everything in my life had aligned at that time when I had that job would be my dream job. In fact, it is my dream job. And now, in a few years, maybe that's kind of the kind of job I'll be looking for. It was the perfect blend of administrative and teaching, and I was a perfect amount of interaction for me. I love people, but I also get socially exhausted very quickly. So it was the perfect blend where I could teach in class, but not too many classes. And if you've been here, you've probably seen videos where I talked about like my job, what I do, or what I used to do. I could interact with students, teach. I love teaching. I've taught for a long time now. I feel old because I can actually say now that I've been teaching for like a decade. And starting from NYC. For those of you Nigerians, you know what NYC is. I taught during my NYC days. Actually, I taught since I left high school, secondary school. That's the time I've been teaching since that time, because I remember that before college, before university, I did some teaching, and then I went to college, and then there I also did some normal informal tutorial teaching, and then after that I taught for NYC. Then after that I taught in the school, and then I moved on from there. And then even when I left formal education school system, the first school where I taught, after I left that job, I still taught on the side. I taught ESL, that's English as a second language, to people were learning English in my country at that time. So while I was working like kind of office job or whatever, I still kind of taught at the side. So I've always thought, it's like at this point in my blood, I am a teacher. I am proud to identify with that. So I loved the fact that I could teach at my previous job. I was teaching like older students. I've taught across all ages. I've taught little kids, I've taught older kids, I've taught teenagers, I've taught adults. Then I went back to teaching college age students, and I loved it. And then I also got to do admin and student support and student resources, and just help people, which is kind of like my superpower, like just helping, being a support person. I'm not the kind of person that will be at the stage, doing all the talks or being the visible person. That's not my style. My style is more to be, this bird really likes me. My style is more to be like the person behind the stage, the backstage, kind of doing all this support stuff. That's my calling, and I got a chance to do that. All that to say that that was my dream job. But and it was a good job too. It was a H1B pathway. My boss loved me. That would have just been easy, and I would talk more about, like, should I just get into it? I did not plan this out. What I want to talk about. Okay. Yeah, this was a job where work visa was guaranteed. I was on that path already. Had the best boss, the best colleagues, the best work team. I had the best team that I was leading, and everything was perfect. But then I left that job and I went back to grad school, and I'm getting my PhD now. And I just finished my first year of PhD. I just had to take a minute, to let that marinate, to tell myself that I finished, and I successfully finished my first year of PhD. That that took me through literal ringer. It was hard. Maybe because, I think primarily because, when you get to a point in your life and it feels like finally you've settled down and you're happy and there's no, oh, I need to do the next thing, I need to do the next thing, I need to do the next thing. That was the point I was before I left for the PhD. So what was my reasoning? I talked to a lot of people, you know, um, while making this decision, trying to like just weigh this, get advice, get people's opinions and everything, and everyone overwhelmingly said, "Why? Like, you have a job. It's secure. Um, you want to go back to being a student? Like, are you stupid? You know?" um, and I think the reason why it was a hard year for me was because I came from being settled and happy, and I loved where I was living. I had a good, beautiful group of people around me, friends. I had a beautiful church. I loved my pastor. Everything was just perfect. It was like, if you've ever, like, for people that maybe moved from Nigeria to a different country, that first year is hard. It's like, especially as an adult, like if you move before undergrad, it feels, I think it's better because it's like, yeah, you're still a kid kind of. After establishing your life somewhere, and then you have to move everything and start all over again. I started all over again, and then I got to a point where it felt like, I'm fine now, I'm settled, I got a job, I'm happy, I have friends, and then again I was like, yeah, I'm ready to move now. It was just crazy. My brain just kind of went into shock a little bit, and I was like, what is wrong with you? Stay somewhere, put down roots, right? That's how it felt. And I think that's why the first year of grad school was hard and it was just very overwhelming a little bit. But I'm glad to say that I made it through and I did it, and I deserve the congratulations. I deserve the pat on the back for getting through it. But why did I do that? Why did I like destabilize my life and everything? I will go deeper into it some other time down the line because there's other parts of the story that I cannot get into right now. But the primary thing is that idea of just do it. I've always known that I wanted to get the PhD, and the perfect solution would have been for me to do my PhD at my job, part time. But they didn't have the program that I needed, and I considered doing another program that was not related, that I had no passion for, like just do anything just for the sake of doing it. But then I thought about it, I prayed about it, I reasoned, and I like considered it, and I realized, no, that's not your path. You don't just do anything because of something else. Like, it's hard to explain, but I knew that I was going to get my PhD, and if I stayed at my job for another 5 years, that's 5 years later, or that's 5 years, down the line, where I still would not have gotten the PhD. So now, look, I finished first year of it. I could have been at the job, living soft life and being in my, being in my comfort zone. That became my comfort zone, and I knew that I was called outside of my comfort zone, at least in the season of life that I am in right now, to move beyond my comfort zone, to get the thing that I am supposed to get before I actually sit down. Like, I think the best description or metaphor that I can use for this is, the test that God gave for the soldiers of Gideon in the Old Testament, if you know that story. So they were beautiful sounds of nature, right? Thank you for understanding. So the soldiers were supposed to go with Joshua to war, and God was like, okay, when they come to the place, stream, after like a hard march, that everyone is tired, you need to watch them carefully. Those of them that kind of like just throw everything away and just put their faces to the water, just drink the water like dogs, those are the ones that are not ready. They don't know what they're doing. Their lives, they need to go back. They can't go with you to this battle, to this war. But those who remain kind of like on guard, they're tired, yes, they've done a lot, but still they're not gonna just forget everything and just rest as if they've gotten to their final bus stop. Those are the ones that are ready for war. That's the best metaphor I can use. So Gideon looked at them, and it was those that kind of knelt down and used their hands to scoop the water to drink. those were the ones that were the chosen ones. And why? Because they did not rest until they got to their final destination, until they had achieved the thing that God had called them to do, right? So they stayed alert even though they were tired, even though they had like gone through really, really hard stuff, they still stayed alert. So that was not that job, that city, all of that, all of the context and the environment of the things that I had at that time a year ago. That was not the place where I was supposed to like throw everything away and put my face in the water and be at rest. I had not yet arrived, and so that was my just take a minute, to eat and rest and rejuvenate, and then get up and go to the next thing. That was that for me, and it was hard. It was like I rested with it a lot. I rested with it a lot, and so YouTube kind of became a an extra, right? So I had to like put it to the side, even though I really, really wanted to like do a lot and grow and continue like growing myself in this way. But I'm back now, and I just wanted to explain kind of a little bit the back end of what's been going on this past several months, where I did not do any videos, I didn't do anything, I didn't even like look at this channel at all. And now I'm done with the first year. Congratulations to me. And it's summer, and this summer I do not intend to be useful at all, because I really feel so close to a burnout. I feel like it was the last few weeks of this first year was like a struggle. Like every minute I was constantly like, God help me, Jesus, you're my strength. Jesus, I need wisdom, I need strength. Holy Spirit, there's a spirit in man, all the kind prayers. Literally, prayers got me through the last few weeks, because I was ready to throw everything away. I'm too old for this. I think my brain is ready to not do school anymore. But that's the gist. That's the story. That's the update. So I'm in a new city now. I left Harrisonburg, which is I love Harrisonburg. Harrisonburg is like this. Will always hold this nostalgic, beautiful place in my heart. Of like, I love it, because I'm not a city girl. I'm a small town girl. I'm a like farmlands, trees, forest, quietness kind of person. I just like to see birds and water and animals and people too. I love people too. That's the kind of person I am, and Harrisonburg gave me all of that and more. But I left there, and I'm now in a different place, and I thought I was going to hate it here, but my people of God, I love it. It's been peaceful as well. There's a lot of nature. It's just everything has been good, because God is here. God is inside of us, is with us, and He has been with me, and He went before me, made everything perfect, worked everything out, and I am so thankful for that. So if I'm gonna leave this, if I'm gonna end this with anything, it's gonna be, please, if God is saying like make a move, do something, even if it's scary, just take the leap, because He goes before you and He perfects everything that concerns us. And one of my scriptures for life, like one of my anchor scriptures that I live my life holding on to with everything in me, is I think Joshua chapter 1 verse 9, where it says like, have I not commanded you? Go and be of good courage, I am with you. That's Joshua chapter 1 verse 9, my life verse, one of my life verses. I just hold on to it whenever I'm afraid, whenever I'm worried, whenever something looks impossible. Just remember that, look, so far over these 3 decades and some, God has always ordered my steps, directed me, shown me, just been with me, even in even doing mistakes, even when I make mistakes, right? He has always worked all things out for good, because He's my Father, and He's your Father, and He's a good Father. The Bible tells us that, like, if your child asks you for fish or something, will you give him stone or bad things? If you, being humans, corruptible, small, normal, mere humans, mere mortals, if you will not do that to your child, how much more will your heavenly Father? It just that story, it's talking about like asking God for stuff and asking God for the Holy Spirit and all that. But there's a lesson there. It's that God, our Father, He's a good Father. He's a good Father. And if you truly believe that He's a good Father, then we can trust Him with the outcome of our lives, right? So even sometimes when we take the wrong steps, we make mistakes, we go a different direction than we're supposed to go, He is still able to redeem those things and make them work together for our good. If you're a child of God, if you're not a child of God, you can totally become a child of God today. It's very easy and straightforward. Anyways, I kind of went off on a little tangent there, but it's a good tangent because we never get tired of talking about Jesus on this channel anywhere in life. But my point is, I thought I was going to hate it where I moved, but I have not. I've loved it. I've met amazing people. I found a beautiful church as well. I found really good people. I'm still like adjusting and settling down and everything, but God has been faithful. He has worked everything out, and He is still committed to me. He's still committed to every one of us, His children. And so that's my testimony time, sharing about the goodness of God. Thank you very much. This was supposed to be like 15 minutes video to kind of reintroduce this channel and tell you what I've been up to and where life has been, what life has been about, and it has kind of become more than that now. Thank you if you stayed till this time. Thank you so much. It's been nice talking to you and just talking about this thing. Like I have said before in another video, these things have become cathartic for me. Just kind of, it means a processing and bringing everything out. For someone who doesn't really talk about stuff, it's really good for me. So thank you for listening, and if you have questions, put them down in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next one. I'm committed to growing this now. I'm not going to go off another 1 year. I think now I have the bandwidth. Jesus, give me grace. But I want to grow this now, so I'm going to be doing a lot with this in the next few months, and I hope you hang around, and I hope you engage, share, like, comment, subscribe, whatever. Thank you very much. I appreciate you. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.